Hey guys, thank you so much for making it to our interview. CinemaAdda, it's such a small group, but really it's a privilege to have you guys do this for us.
Oh no, that's so kind of you, Vishy. But you guys are passionate. I've been tracking some of your posts. Uh, you like good cinema irrespective of the genre, so keep doing that. And we take honor in uh, spending some time with you. And so we're looking forward for the interaction.
People, especially in US, who live here, looking for a certain kind of cinema, and I think Gatham rightly fits into that category because all of us are pleasantly surprised. I think that's been one key word you've been hearing, maybe from the reactions. Pleasantly surprised. Do you agree?
Absolutely, surprise added with a couple of other adjectives. Pleasantly, small surprise, things like that. But even we were taken by surprise the kind of reception we've been receiving so far. Um, Small time filmmakers trying to make it big into the industry, right? So always these kind of compliments will boost your confidence too. So yeah, I mean we are enjoying it right now. So glad that people are open to any kind of cinema as long as it's quality.
Was it a coincidence or I don't know how, but it's pitted against a big movie like Miss India. And the same week it released, everybody's focus was on Miss India because it had big names and all of that. But this one is like a sleeper hit, I would say. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for giving such a clean entertainer and that too in a thriller genre.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So 2 weeks into the release, what is your current state of mind, both of you?
So yeah, I think I am completely out of it right now. It's been 2 weeks, so things have slowly calmed down. The storm is evaded. So right now the focus has been shifted to what's next, and but at the same time we have to keep the buzz alive, right? So
Right.
it's not like we have star cast or known faces or known people behind the camera. So we have to keep the buzz alive. So we are we are pretty much active promoting our movie on any stage or any arena, as a matter of fact.
The heat is still on, is what I can say, because there are no thrillers that are released in this month. In that way, we are lucky. So probably for next 1 month or so, the heat will be on, is what I feel. And yeah, listening to other scripts, we are working on other scripts actually, other directors and all. So it's been fun, and it's been overwhelming for me, receiving lots of messages on social media platforms. So yeah, it's really happy for me and my team. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you might have heard a lot of constructive feedback and a lot
Right.
of feedback you're getting from the film fraternity too back in India. So things that you can share that you have received from some of these filmmakers or film team.
The attention has mostly or largely been from the national media and other states other than the Telugu film industry, because I think they are yet to watch. We are waiting for more feedback from them. So whoever has watched has been raving about the efforts the small team has put in. But the biggest compliments we've been receiving are from the national media, especially Rajiv Masan has spoken to us for some length, and he applauded us. He gave us this tag saying how a scrappy indie movie has become an organic hit. So so that was a huge compliment, and we take a lot of confidence from it. So that was by far the biggest we have received.
I read this, what you said in Film Companion, that you always wanted to debut with a psychological thriller. So, I mean,
Mhm.
can I know why exactly psychological thriller only?
I love that genre, as simple as that. And I just started watching more and more of that genre, and it intrigued me because um, the drama and all coming from India, we have seen enough of it, right? So for me, anything that comes across that is in that genre category doesn't really excite me, to be honest. I'm not against any other drama lovers or rom-com lovers, but what fascinates me is, okay, what's in the store for me? How are we raising the stakes, right? So that's where psychological thriller definitely fits in the bill.
People say it's safe to try a thriller or a rom-com as your debut. Do you guys agree with that?
Um, I think it's easier to try a thriller rather than a rom-com. I'll tell you why. Um, so first movie you will do a lot of mistakes. The graph is exponential because we do some blunders, not even mistakes, right? So all these flaws will be overlooked as long as the narration is gripping. So coming to the rom-com, um, it's mostly on the character arcs and the chemistry between the pairs, right? So having said that, if they're newcomers, it's pretty difficult to get connected to the characters right away. And with the thriller, the advantage we have is there is lot in the offering from the screenplay perspective along with the performances. So any flaws we do in any of these aspects, I think they will be overlooked as long as the narrative is gripping and then audience keep guessing what's next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rightly said. So Rakesh, that brings me to you. I've seen your short films in YouTube. Most of them belong to a lighter genre than what you did now. What made you pick this movie?
I haven't picked this movie, but story picked me. That's what I can say. But yeah, I met Kiran in Arizona, Phoenix. So we exchanged our thoughts, and he was ready to make an independent film. He already directed like around 13 short films and a web series before this, and I did around like 20. I have acted in around 20 short films and a couple of indie movies. So he was ready with the script. He was planning to do this movie. So he sent me the script, and I was like blown away with the characterization arcs. So I had these things in my mind, like I need to get prepared for this role in a proper manner because it's very challenging, right?
It's
Essentially,
dark too, right? Very dark.
yeah, it's very dark. So it took some time for me. I prepared myself, and we went ahead with a couple of demo shoots and a couple of workshops also before the shoot, and we were ready for the movie. And yeah, the kind of preparation I had for this movie is like I'm a software professional, right? Like I'm doing a 9 to 5 job. So after finishing my work, I usually come home and look into the script and practice my scenes in front of the mirror. So daily I used to practice, and I used to watch a lot of movies, so dark thrillers or whatever it might be. So that made my job easy at some point of time. But yeah, I guess you liked it, right? Like my performance. So
Loved it. Yeah. So
thanks, man.
I wanted to ask Kiran, like, how did you imagine Rakesh in this long-haired psychopathic character? How does the process
So
work, first of all?
right. So once I finish the script, that's when I really think about the actors and who will really fit into the bill. Having said that, when I finished the script, um, Rakesh, I happened to meet him through my wife because they were going to school. They were doing MBA back in 2018. So I met him. I watched his short films. I had the vision in my mind, but I don't know who would fit. And then my wife showed me his short films, and all of them. I don't know. Yeah, even though he did a lot of lighter, dramas, there was one specific short film called Shah. So that was, I think, one of his um, short films where the director explored his darker side. That was pretty good. I mean, I liked the way he portrayed those characteristics. So I thought, okay, this guy has the other shades as well.
Okay.
And all I needed was, a little, makeover, be it the beard or, the hair, whatever. So just to give him the kind of look audience would expect from a darker character, right? So it was not like, okay, I'll make him do it. I knew he will do it from his past works. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, you have fairly, relatively new faces, at least from the
Mhm.
mainstream cinema point of view. But
Mhm.
was that a conscious decision from beginning, or did you have plans of probably approaching fairly known people or actors?
No, it was it. We knew we have to go with new faces because of our constraints, financial constraints. We wanted to pull this off in a shoestring budget and spend each and every dollar on the production values rather than on actors because we need to balance things out, right? So an actor um, will definitely add value, but we cannot afford him at the expense of storytelling. But having said that, these guys, they delivered 120%. So no qualms in that, no complaints in that.
And
Right.
thankfully, your screenplay and the beauty in that and the constant twists you were
Mm.
throwing at the audience, it just
Right.
kept them hooked all throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's a combination, right? So if something works, if the other won't work, I think it's okay. So audience are so generous.
I wanted to talk about this the log line or the first quote that comes in the movie. It says every human has a bit of psychopath in him, but
Mhm.
only a few bring it out. And then you pause it for a second, and then the
Mhm.
music comes, and then comes unless they knock on your door. Can you
Right.
explain a bit about that quote?
Right. So the darker side, right? So we always at some point of time would have thought about killing someone, be it out of anger or the heat of the moment, right? So that is not because you're bad or something. It's that you have two brains always constantly working. Because you're in a society, the good brain, the better version of yours will try to dominate the darker side, and it is always curbed. But especially in the US, you see the other one coming out a lot because of the individuality and the space around us, the distance between people here. So I wanted to use that to uh, throw a first hook onto the audience, and pausing for a second and gives them a thought. So they have to go through that first. They have to understand, hey, yeah, actually this is a fact, even I have that kind of shade in me. And then so how is the movie going to show that, right? That's the next statement.
Correct.
So because these guys go and knock the door, and then what happens next. Thoroughly, yeah, it won't really sit on your brain, or constantly knocking your brain to think about it, but it peripherally acts on your watching experience. Yeah.
This log line basically comes from Rishi's point of view.
Yes, it comes completely from Rishi's point of view.
The reason why I asked you this question first is because did this log line actually be an input to you in the process of understanding the character? Is why I was curious.
Not really. I didn't know the log line, so but I just read the script. That's it. That's what I
Yeah.
can say.
The interesting aspect here is the logline was not part of in the plans until 2 weeks before the release.
Okay. We have a certain strict formula of going by these many hours, at least beyond 2 hours is what we've been seeing of late. But 1 hour 42 minutes is getting us back to this Hollywood style.
It was definitely not. So when we first finished editing the movie, the entire length came up to 2 or 10 minutes or 2 or 8 minutes or something, somewhere around that. And then we started going through the process of, okay, what's not needed, what's needed. We trim, and then these 2 years, right? So we've been showing it to multiple people. We wanted to be MVP rather than going for that cult group. Rather than that, we wanted to cater this movie to all sections of audience. After getting so many feedbacks, I isolated myself and watched the movie again, and I decided, hey, all putting all these feedbacks aside, I alone myself feel there are some scenes that are not needed really. Let's go trim them and put the best scenes into the movie, and then that will drive the experience. And then we had to trim about 28 minutes or so. The plan is to release them sometime later on YouTube.
Okay,
They'll
like
Please,
definitely,
please
deleted.
do, Kiran. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
those
I'm
are really
waiting.
good scenes.
I'm eagerly waiting for that. Actually, there are
those,
good scenes.
those are so, I mean, beautiful scenes. I mean, I had to that was an emotional thing, but once you move on to the editing table, right, you're not a director anymore. You have to be ruthless about your movie.
Were there any scenes that you felt, oh no, this should have been in the movie? I did so well in this. Why is it not there?
Yeah, there are a couple of scenes I already discussed with Kiran actually. So probably they might be releasing it soon. There are like a couple of outdoor sequences which were like beautifully shot. You can see it like those scenes are like completely like a Hollywood style. Actually, the vision uh, it came out really well, but it's all in, in Kiran's hand, right? Kiran's hand, the editor's hand. So That's how
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Why I'm asking is because we wanted to see more of Rishi too, because he was just getting started, is what we felt, and we are getting into this very crazy character.
We had a lot of backstory to tell, Rishi. So because when we wrote the screenplay and all, we wanted to give the audience the the stakes for to get hooked to the Rishi's character.
Correct.
It can only happen if we have the backstory and everything narrated properly. In the second half, we just barely touch upon his his darker side with a lot of victims under his belt. But what exactly is the motive that drove him to do all these things, and what's the exact bond between the father and son, right? those
Exactly.
those are all already etched out. It's just
Correct.
that we didn't have time. We wanted if we do all those things, it will go run for 3 hour long. So
Yeah.
and it has to be turned into a series. So considering all those factors, we had to chop off or make some decisions that we didn't really enjoy, but we had to.
Are you having thoughts of a sequel or doing a prequel to this movie? Anything like
Uh,
that?
Rakesh, he can answer it, or he should answer it maybe.
I'm interested to act in this prequel or else sequel, because prequel is a word which I liked, because we can explore a lot of things about Rishi, right? So we can showcase, and yeah, sequel for sure. Am I coming out of the box? I don't know. It all depends on Kiran, so he can answer the question now.
Yeah, it's an opener climax, but right now we don't want to get monotonous. We want to enjoy the process of filmmaking, right? So we've gone through this for already 2 years. We will switch the genres, and maybe sometime in the future we will come back once these actors become superstars, and now I'll have more what do you call scope to do it on a bigger scale, and things like that. So I'm hoping these guys become superstars sooner than later, so they can come back and collaborate with us.
So we're joined by Bhargava. Thank you, Bhargava, for joining. You play Arjun, the male lead of Gatham.
Very nice and glad to be here.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to see you without the beard and the hair. And probably some people might not even recognize. Maybe the poster behind you can help them.
That's what my family also says. They also like it this way.
This is a story that deals with a male lead who is a middle-aged person, who's a father. So that itself is refreshing in itself. But then also playing that character, how did you feel?
So I don't know how much Kiran told you about our journey together. So our journey started back in 2015. I was in Arizona at the time, and we used to play cricket together.
Mm.
I had a cricket team in Arizona, and one day suddenly it was posted in our WhatsApp group that Kiran made a short film, Allah of a Hero or something like that, right? It was a very nice, very light-hearted, very funny short film. But what caught me, what surprised me was the quality with which it was made, and it was so nice, the storytelling and all. So I happened to ask Kiran, boss, give me one chance, okka chance, okka chance,
Ka
okka chance.
chance.
I was doing it in jest at the time, but he took it seriously and he said, okay, let's do it. So we started, and then our second short film actually won a lot of accolades. Right? And in 2018, Kiran said it's time to, why don't we graduate to, the big screen. That's how the idea started. He wrote the script. He called me up. I remember I was in my kitchen. I don't know what I was doing. I was in the kitchen, and he called me up, and we had a chat, and he talked about the character. He gave me highlights about the character, the arc of the character, and I fell in love with it. Right? I mean, it's this for any actor, the kind of scope this character gives is mind blowing. Right? Almost all the shades except probably humor. Right? But so that was very interesting. So it was so intriguing and it was so challenging. I was intimidated, but as soon as he told that, I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we've been traveling together, so we made a what do you call a banner production. We made a production house, right? We made a banner called Offbeat Films. Harsha, Kiran, and myself, and that's how we started this this film.
So I see this hospitality in the character. Uh, he treats his guests so well, and then he cooks some delicious food. And even in the moment of these tense situations, he tries to tell, relax, బాగా tired అంటున్నారు, relax అవ్వండి తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాం. So does it come from the character that Kiran wrote, or does it come part of it from you yourself?
That's a very tough question, because if it comes from me, then it's a negative thing. If it doesn't come from me, that's also a negative thing. So it is actually the character, and that line, I think, is supposed to be what do you call it? Send a jarring note to the audience, right? I think it managed to do that. So the script was written so well, and that line was placed in so strategically, I would say, that it achieved its goal of giving the jarring note to the audiences.
Yeah, because it can get a little off when you try to make a line repetitive, but thankfully it's being used in the right spots, and then it hits the right notes.
Especially at times when they don't expect it, right? When I've just shot this guy and I'm telling him, like,
Yeah.
that, right? You must be tired. So it sends a mixed signals to the audience, and that's part of the effort, I guess.
Right when the movie started, Amazon gave this, that there was a 100K lens that you guys lost, and then later after the shoot, somebody found it by the stream and they gave it back to you. So I wanted to know, I know Bhargav, you're also the producer of the movie. Firstly, when you lost the lens, what was your reaction? And when you guys knew that you got it back, what was your...
After lunch, everybody went to restrooms and all. They took off on their cars. We came back and looked for the, we have to set up, next setup. There is no lens. And lens should be in a box. Where is the box? The box is not there. So it is like you're already numb with all the cold, and now this numb feeling sets in that there is a potential 100K loss sitting on your head. We had insurance and all, but still it is like, we still had a lot of shooting to do. We were not worried about the 100K because insurance was there. Well, not at the moment. At the moment, we were like really petrified and all that. After a while, it's a group therapy sort of thing. It's like, no, we have to finish it. Whatever it's, we're not going to stop. We're not going to. So that sort of kicked in. And then Kiran also joined and said, okay, we have 2 more lenses. Let's start doing that. So kind of in a group, it became a group hug sort of thing. And the next day we went out. Next day, it was not like after the shoot, right? Next day we went out and started shooting again with those 2 lenses, right? They were not the right lenses for it. And then somebody comes up, drives us to us. He comes in a truck and says, guys, what are you shooting yesterday? I found a thing, I kept it, and it's here. That sort of is a signal to us that, we are destined to finish this project, right? I mean, imagine that in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
It's just a coincidence that gave us so much belief.
One other aspect I liked so much in the movie, it's the nativity factor. It was so refreshing, coming both from Rishi's character as well as Arjun's character. When they speak to a Caucasian or a American character, they don't have that thick accent.
The clear difference, right? So the movies that were made in the past, clearly the filmmakers, the core unit, flies all the way from India and starts making movie here. They are not really, so good at understanding the nuances in that accent. We've almost spent 8 years here before making the movie, so we almost blend into the culture really well. We understand how people react to what situation, and how the flow of conversations are between any two people here. So that actually helped us in shaping the script with more naturally flowing dialogues and conversations.
As far as the accent goes, right? So accent is something that should come naturally to you. Right? The moment you try to put it on, it'll actually show up. And I'll tell you one more thing, Rishi. Now let's flip the coin, right? What about the non-Telugu actors?
Right.
What happens is, in all these other movies that we've seen, most of them, right, they talk English like a Telugu person. And that puts people off. We have seen it, right? I mean, they get big actors. I mean, I think you know which movie I'm talking about.
I know what.
Yeah, and they talk like Telugu. They're saying their lines like they would in Telugu, right? So that boils down to bad writing, in my opinion, right? What we did is we took the dialogues. As Kiran mentioned, we've been here for a while, so we tried to make those conversations with these Caucasians in a way that it would be natural between a Caucasian and a Telugu person, right? And at
Right.
the same time, we also asked them to prove it. So
Right.
that's the kind of level of care that was taken throughout.
Especially right after watching the world cinema. So when there are two people speaking, be it a British or be it an American versus coming a guy from Middle Eastern, you know how their accent is, right? So doesn't mean this guy has to speak like a British person. He has his own accent, the Middle Eastern person. We clearly can see, okay, this guy is coming from the Middle East. But why are we not doing it? Why are we trying to impersonate someone who we are not, right? So we have to have our own authenticity and signature in delivering the dialogues. So that's where it all comes from.
I think the only character that kind of keeps us rooted to our Telugu situations and Telugu mainstream is Rishi's character, especially when he realizes his consciousness, and then um, Poojitha's character basically he says "dupu dupula undu." That was like we want that still we want those kind of lines from our movies. It was so nice.
Right, right. So it was like he's. I mean, he has to burst out. That's the flip of his character. So we wanted to give some, one-liners even after that Goli Lai Paine. So
Goli
those things, we don't have a lot of time to again build his character arc. So whatever we can make up, we have to make up in few seconds because we are reaching the climax portions. So obviously we have to dramatize the situation. So.
the point that Kiran was making a while back, that this is made on a shoestring budget and you were conscious about it, but it didn't look like a shoestring budget movie at all. Where do you think? Why do you think probably audience feel that?
Uh, so a good camera in a good location will not, produce a good shot. So what happens is a lot of creativity goes into it. So if we have a camera, we have the location, know what to do. So that's where myself and the DOP, the director of photography, have to really work hard and come up with our you know experience and expertise. So coming back to your question, right? So different locations, yes, but all of them were well thought out. So we knew we have to shoot in those locations up front. So we go there at least an hour or 2 hours before the entire cast comes. So we do all sorts of blocking. How do we capture this cinematically? How can we make audience actually feel the location, feel the actors in that location if they watch it on a big screen? So a lot of thought process goes into it.
Was there a lot of time spent that is why on probably pre-production for this movie, because
Oh
you have to be conscious of the budget?
yes, indeed. Extensive pre-production went into it, thanks to these actors, right? So when we go onto the sets, our logistical challenges are the only hurdles that would delay the proceedings. So these guys, they've spent a lot of time on workshops. We did 3 workshops, a lot of demo shoots. They made our job easier. So once we go onto the sets, even the shots and all are already figured out, but still we run into a lot of logistical challenges because most of the filming is done guerrilla style.
Speaking of photography, I think what worked wonders was definitely it was the aerial shots. They
Mhm.
were phenomenal.
So we don't have the skill to maneuver the drone in such a cinematic fashion because it has to convolute, it has to like do all 360 sorts of thing, go up and down. So those things will only be managed by a guy who is like really expert in flying the drones, and that is a big drones. So we hired an operator. We gave him the the kind of the short description, my vision, everything, and then it's a collaborative effort.
Actually, if you put the guy who came in at that remote location, three drone operators. The way
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
the
That's it. That's again a trivia.
Another two key pillars, definitely, it's the music and editing. Going by a movie like this, the big name that people can associate to is Sri Charan, because he's
Mhm,
done a lot of popular movies.
mhm.
So, how was your experience working with him, and how did you guys get him on board?
as you know, like thrillers, heartbeat of a thriller is the BGM, right? So, so Kiran had a short list, right, of people, and like, yeah, this guy will do very well, this guy will do. So he was in that kind of brainstorming session, and so I ended up asking him, let's say if money is, and he was talking about money also. So I said, let's say if money is not a constraint, who would you want to have on board here? So he said, my wish would be to have Sricharan do the music for this. So then we got the number for Sricharan, and I called him up. I think it probably would have taken a month time, right, having conversations with him, explaining our project, and then also finding out that he is a junior of my cousin, and he's also from Vizag, all that kind of stuff, and what we are doing and what we are trying to achieve, the kind of visuals we've come out with. We showed him our teaser that was already cut, and we persuaded him, and he was gracious enough to see it as a challenge, that newcomers, okay, let's see how we can take it to so that's how he joined the team.
What he did is, complemented the narration rather than, going loud and showcasing his talent. So now that people are praising because he's complimenting, and it's going well along with the narration. It's not hampering or dampening it.
Correct. Yeah, it's definitely an asset. So speaking of edit, the only name I saw is GS, but I don't know who he is. Is that like a cryptic?
I mean, I work with a bunch of introverts, to be honest with you. I myself, I am sometimes. Even GS is one such guy. In fact, he's the introvert, I would say, in the group. He doesn't want his name to be out, but he wants his work to speak for itself. So always goes by GS. I don't think he would like if I disclose his full name, but you can find it if you do some research.
Yeah.
So I can say he's one of the pillars, not just the editor, but he did all the DI process. He supervised everything in the post production pipeline, not just editing. He just owned it.
I observed this, it felt curious. When the movie begins, it starts with the names of the production houses, the offbeat, and there's one more banner that comes in. But they maintain consistency. Like they don't have their own, AV or something like the way we see in our Telugu films. Because that's
Right.
very important. We see that happen in Hollywood. So was that a editing choice or was it a direction choice?
It was a collaborative effort, right? So once we decided, for us, the banners and all should really blend along with the flow of the movie. So that's the reason you don't see any additional sounds. As a matter of fact, it surrounds you. It starts haunting you right from the very first title card, saying offbeat films and originals. So we wanted to immerse audience into the movie right before it starts with the sound design, right? So that was the whole idea of coming up with this style. So glad that it worked out, and you are picking up on those minute details, the efforts we put into it. We are happy someone is noticing those.
I think Bhargav, you worked for Google. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm working for Google.
You're working for Google as a program manager. And Kiran, if I'm not wrong, you're a big data engineer. So,
Yes.
so what made you guys switch from these hardcore IT professional jobs to get into or venture into this big feature filmmaking?
We did not make a shift, Vishay. We are still doing that, 9 to 5s. It's just that the passion, uh, it's uncontrollable at this point of time. So we wanted to explore our passion as well and make it big. But this all goes back to the short film days. Even then, we were traveling on two boards. But what we learned is being more organized and managing the time, and also managing the family as well as the professions. So we used all that experience, while making the Gatham. So it helped.
For me, it's not one versus another, because if you even IT is my passion. I mean, building software, building products is my passion. I have my passion there as well. But then movie and acting is also a passion for me.
So, Bhargav, you being a program manager, does it help you get some of those methodologies that you use in software into filmmaking as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I got to a point where I started nagging Kiran, and our entire production management team, right? So I had to get them into a daily startup mode, stand-up mode, basically, and break down, right, and pre-planning, right? We talked about how you plan your sprints and all. So got that entire methodology into our the way we did our pre-production work, right? Including every scene, every scenario, the day shots versus night shots, right, in a scene, breaking down all of that, and actually having a timeline. So that's how I think one of the reasons why we were able to manage our budget and stay within it was that getting our IT experiences into this was very crucial, I guess.
I wanted to understand because you've produced this movie, now you've made your first feature film, about what's the scene in like US for people like you or anyone who wants to make movie, a Telugu film, feature film with Telugu people in US. How is the scene like? Is there like a group where people can collaborate, or is it just still through known people, through known connections you can establish?
I think I've seen Kiran help out a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, and I am also talking to a lot of people. We can share our experience, and we are sharing our experiences. So I don't think there is an association or some sort of collaborative effort. But I think slowly and for surely something here will crop up, right? Telugu industry. I see one happening.
Mhm.
As far as our endeavors go, we are trying to set up a production house. My statement is, we can build quality Telugu cinemas here in
Correct.
US, and nobody should tell us otherwise. Nobody. We have met with some huge yesteryear directors who I don't want to name them. They don't, they don't see it happening. They don't see it happening. They feel like people with DSLRs are actually shooting movies now, but that's the beauty of it.
Right.
That is the beauty of it. It is democratized. Anybody can do it. The Telugu industry will grow in the US, is my feeling.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's high time, and with movies like Gatham, it proves out that you have a good content and the presentation is right in the right departments, and you have a perfectionist like Kiran who can actually take that vision and make the difference. You can really achieve quality Telugu films, and the taste of the audience here, the Telugu audience here, is definitely different because we kind of take the cultures from different people over here, and then also kind of have our roots still with our hometowns, and that's a beautiful fusion.
It's definitely possible, but the key is the product has to be quality. There's nothing you can do. I mean, you can build something, and if it's not quality, you cannot sell it. At the end of the day, you have to be. So how do you build that? How do you build the confidence that I can build a product? You have to work hard. And Kiran's journey is an example for it. I think everybody has to take his journey as an example. So how do I have that confidence? Is I have worked with him for the past 5 years. He has been doing it since 2012. So he tripped, fell, got up, learned, tripped, fell, got up, learned. He's done that cycle after cycle after cycle. So if you see his 2012 short film to today, it's uncomparable. You cannot compare it. So that's the learning. That's the process. So you can't say that today I will come in, I have a great story, and I have the talent. How can anybody? How can I back you up? Right? So there has to be some proof. So for me, that was Kiran. I knew him. I did movies with him. So so people have to build that skills up and prove it to the world.
For anybody who's out there who's made content sitting out there, what is the process like to get or to reach to an OTT and pitch their film?
I think Kiran will also add to it. There is nothing easy here. I don't think Amazon would have looked at us, and then COVID hit, right? So that was a blessing in disguise, I would say, because all the OTTs started starving for content and all. So Amazon looked at the teaser and they liked it, and they asked us to show the movie after it was done. Kiran took it to them, and they loved it. They loved the content. At the end of the day, if the content is not there, no OTT
Right.
will back you up. Yeah.
I'm a bit worried because someone might think, okay, these guys made a movie and Amazon just took it and published it. But no, it didn't happen like that. It was a process, right? So we went through it. They wanted to watch the full movie. They watched it, and then the negotiations happened back and forth. Not just Amazon, because now this is a success story. We are talking about Amazon, right? But we went through a lot of other OTT platforms as well. Not everywhere we were successful. People actually criticized. People thought it won't work out. This is far ahead, or this is not for the Telugu audience. We heard a lot of things, thousand odd things. But still we were persistent with the product because we believed in it. We know someday we will make it big, and it will happen. um and then, yeah, I mean, eventually after 4 months Amazon watched the movie. um and then rest is history.
Right? I mean, we spent 2 years post production process, or 1.5 year on post production process. So imagine the kind of anxiety we would have gone through. It wasn't easy by any stretch of imagination. So
Yeah, I'm sure. But that all effort, now it's paying off. But now it's giving you a credibility and establishment that this is a team that made quality movie like Gatham. So what kind of advantage does that give you from here?
More than an advantage, I think it's more of a pressure. Well, if you enjoy it, if you're relaxed, I don't think you would take the pressure. But this tag, right? So these guys surprised all of us. It's a pleasant surprise, as we already discussed in the beginning portion of the interview. Next time there won't be any surprise, because they expect the quality from us. Now we have a tag. It is a successful team, it's a successful product. So the expectations are already set by Gatham. So whatever we deliver in next, we have to work harder, and we have to be more careful with execution. And whatever mistakes we have done with Gatham, we shouldn't be repeating those, and deliver better product at the end of the day. But the advantage we have is people will anticipate. So uh, this is a sleeper hit right now. I would call Gatham a sleeper hit. But next time it will be a sounding hit if we deliver better than Gatham, because now we have a cult group who admire Gatham. So they will take the initiative to spread the word across.
I think it also helps you proudly write from the makers of Gatham. So that
Right.
it in
Right.
itself is a big privilege.
Indeed.
from a confidence perspective, I am 250% confident. Whatever genre at the end of the day Kiran chooses, it is going to be narrated in the same crisp style. Right? There's no question about it in my mind. So added pressure for sure, but I think Telugu audience are now ready for that kind of crisp narration. I mean,
Now that you have a solid team that you guys are tag teaming and looking forward for more projects in the future, if anybody equally passionate wants to join you, what's the thing they need to do? How do they contact you?
So before Gatham, we were not socially active, but thanks to the promotions and all, we are everywhere. So just Google for our names. We are at a click away. So drop us a message. We are more than willing to collaborate. So that's how Gatham happened, right? It's not a one-man army, nor some so-called famous people joined hands and Gatham happened. No, it's all people like us who are passionate about filmmaking. We joined hands. So unless we had that rush, Gatham wouldn't have happened. So no, it's a no-brainer. We would be welcoming the same equally passionate guys with open arms. So we are looking forward to that kind of collaborations, in fact.
but passionate people are need of the hour. Let me tell you that. If without passion, without that craving to go out, put that extra 10%, 15%, or whatever percent we need to put to make that particular scene a good one, a short good one, that kind of ownership is needed. Yeah, if you're that kind of person, absolutely would welcome. There's no
Yeah,
question.
and even I can vouch for that, because a small group like our CinemaAdda, but with just one message away, Kiran and all of you were so gracious enough to tag along and do this interview for us. It's been really great talking to you, and it was a fun chat. And thanks for being so, supportive with a group like ours. Before we end on this note, the dialogue from your movie, బాగా అలసిపోయినట్టున్నారు, రెస్ట్ తీసుకొని తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాం.
Please. Thank you very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
talking.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.